One day, my husband, Robert, came home with his ex-girlfriend and her child.
Heads up, if you leave me, the three of us could live happily ever after. Even Mom would get to hold a grandchild.
My husband pressured me to divorce him, so I agreed. Why? Because I have an ace up my sleeve that he knows nothing about. I can't help but look forward to the look on his face when he finds out. The anticipation is just too thrilling. My name is Amelia. I'm 35 years old. I've been married to Robert, who is 5 years my junior, for 3 years now. We don't have any kids yet. After a while into our marriage, my mother-in-law became pretty pushy and wanted a grandchild.
Amelia, you've been married for 3 years, right? When will I see a grandkid? How much longer do you want to keep me waiting?
Lately, she's been rushing me with a phone call every other day asking if a grandchild is on the way yet. I couldn't take it anymore, and I talked to Robert about it. Robert, I got another call from your mom today. It's becoming so frequent, it's making me feel down every time the phone rings.
Don't worry about it. We agreed to have kids at our own pace.
Robert reassures me, but I still feel uneasy. We're not on bad terms as a couple, so it's not impossible for us to have a child. Could it be that one of us has fertility issues? Just when I started thinking about that, my mother-in-law suggested we should get a fertility test. Hey, Robert, your mom suggested we get a fertility test today. I think I want to take it.
There's no need. We'll have a baby when it's time.
Then you go ahead and tell her that. I couldn't help but raise my voice at Robert. He doesn't seem worried about not having a child. And when it comes to his mom, he doesn't seem worried about not having a child. And when it comes to his mom, he thinks it's best to ignore her. It's me who's left feeling miserable. Doubting Robert's reliability, I decided to go for a fertility test without telling him. If the issue is with me, I want to tackle it sooner rather than later. Plus, I'm older than Robert, so the pressure is really on. To cut to the chase, my test results were fine, so maybe the issue is on Robert's end. So, Robert, about that fertility test we talked about the other day? When I bring it up, Robert doesn't even try to hide his irritation.
Really? This again? Haven't I told you I'm sick of hearing baby, baby? Makes me not even want to try for a kid. Let's drop it, okay?
Robert shuts down, not willing to hear me out. All I wanted to do was share the test results. Why is he so angry? I don't want this tension hanging over our relationship. Ultimately, I decided to keep the test results from Robert. Ignoring my feelings, my mother-in-law calls.
Amelia, what's happening with having kids? I hate to say it, but at your age, your window is closing fast. Could it be your age that's the problem?
I wanted to say I'm not the issue, but that would mean indirectly pointing the finger at Robert. That would surely get back to him. So I hold my tongue, enduring her remarks.
Even Robert knows I'm looking forward to grandchildren, so why did he marry an older woman who can't have kids?
My mother-in-law, convinced I'm the problem, won't stop nagging. Her complaints are now seeping into Robert as well. Robert, can you please tell your mother to stop talking about babies? It hurts to be talked about like that when I want kids too. Not only has mother-in-law been bad-mouthing me, but now even Robert is starting to blame me.
Well, Mom has a point. My friends were saying at the reunion that it's harder to have kids with an older wife.
Robert now firmly believes I'm the issue, swayed not just by his mom, but also old classmates. At this point, there's no way I can ask him to get tested. Eventually, every time he goes to his parents' house, he starts ridiculing me alongside mother-in-law. Today, once again, mother-in-law speaks loudly enough for me to hear.
Why did you choose an older woman, Robert? I thought for sure you'd marry Isabella from college.
She's the same age and looks healthy. You'd probably have a grandchild or two by now. Robert responds with a laugh.
Seriously, if I'd known Amelia couldn't have kids, I never would have married her. I really picked the wrong person, huh?
Ever since then, my trust in Robert dwindled. Whenever we were together, I couldn't help but give him the cold shoulder. As a result, Robert started coming home less and less.
I don't need dinner tonight.
Got it. It seemed Robert was hanging out with his old friends almost every night. But eventually, whether he got tired of it or ran out of spending money, he stopped going out at night altogether. So, you're not going out drinking anymore? Annoyed, he replied.
So what? Does me being home bother you or something?
Not at all. I was just thinking it's nice for a married couple to share meals. Even though the pressure from my mother-in-law was persistent, I started to feel that growing old together was enough, even if we couldn't have children. That's why I started treating Robert better and making the most of our time together. However, Robert started going out again on weekends. In our college days, sudden invites were frequent, but those calls had ceased lately. If he starts coming home late again, that's gonna suck. As I waited for him to come back, what actually happened was far worse. Robert came home with a woman and a baby. Who's this?
She's an old classmate, Isabella.
Isabella was, if I remember correctly, Robert's college girlfriend that my mother-in-law mentioned. Why on earth would she be here? And she's holding a baby. Could it be they had a fight? Please divorce Robert. Excuse me? I looked at Robert and he looked more serious than I'd ever seen him. I had a bad feeling about this.
Amelia, hear me out. I've decided to start over with Isabella.
What do you mean?
I met her again at last year's reunion, and I realized she's the one I truly love. She's pregnant with my child.
Your child? Robert, you can't be serious.
It's true, but Isabella knew I was married, so she initially planned to raise the child on her own and gave birth in secret.
Robert looked at Isabella with love. So why bring this up now? Isabella humbly replied, After seeing my child's face, I just wanted a normal life for them. I didn't want them to grow up as a single mother's child, but to be loved by both parents. How selfish. I get it. It's selfish, Amelia. I'm sorry for taking Robert away from you, but this child really needs a dad.
Amelia, that's how it is.
Then Robert chimed in.
Look, I've always wanted a kid too. Everyone wins if you just let me go. So will you divorce me?
I'm not the one who can't have kids. I forgave all his past wrongs and committed to our life together, and now this? Something inside me snapped. Fine. I agreed to the divorce. By the time I realized it, the words were out of my mouth. Hearing that, Robert leaned in, looking pleased.
Thanks. I knew you'd understand, Amelia. So when can you move out?
It seemed they couldn't wait to kick me out and start their new life in this home. How utterly self-centered. If that's what you both want, I can leave immediately, but I have a condition. You both have been dating since last year, right? You're aware that you're cheating.
Well, we couldn't help it. We reconnected at a reunion and couldn't stop our feelings.
I feel the same way. Isabella sparkled in agreement. I think the fact we've conceived proves that we're blessed. Happy-go-lucky, both of them. It's terrifying that they think I'd be okay with this. Good, I'm glad you admit to the cheating. Now I can cleanly claim compensation in the divorce. Upon hearing this, Robert and Isabella went pale instantly.
Compensation? Are you a demon? You plan to take money from us while we're raising a child?
Exactly, you've never had a child, Amelia, you don't get it. I have no intention of listening to either of you, I said coldly and in a low voice. I don't care about your circumstances. If you cheat behind my back and then unilaterally demand a divorce, it's only fair that you owe me compensation.
Monster! Devil!
Heartless woman! They shouted and screamed, spit flying. Ignoring them, I went in for the kill. If you can't afford to pay, why not ask mother-in-law? She's been dying to see her grandchild. She'd probably be happy to help.
You're right. Mom will definitely help us out.
Seemingly reassured, they agreed to pay me the amount I demanded. Of course, I also tacked on the cost of my accommodation until I could find a new home. To avoid future complications, I made sure they signed an agreement. Shall we go tell mother-in-law right away?
Yeah, Mom will be so thrilled to finally have a grandchild.
Ignoring my presence, Robert and Isabella excitedly discussed their new life. Later, when we visited mother-in-law at her home, we told her the whole story. Then mother-in-law exclaimed with surprise, "Robert, well done! I told you so, didn't I? It's better to marry a classmate. I always thought you and Isabella would be a better match than that old Amelia." Turns out my mother-in-law is just like Robert and Isabella. They only think about themselves. Soaking up mother-in-law's praise, Isabella is over the moon. "Mother-in-law, thank you. Now let me hold that long-awaited grandchild of mine." Robert stopped mother-in-law as she immediately moved to hold the baby.
But there's a problem. Amelia is demanding a settlement. What a greedy woman! She says it's a condition for the divorce. Isabella and I want to be together as soon as possible and let you hold your grandchild, Mom. Robert, you're such a kind son. I'm proud of you. But we're going to need money for raising the kid. We can't make ends meet if we pay the settlement.
Mother-in-law then smiled warmly at them.
If that's the case, leave it to me. I've saved up some money for my grandchild. Use that to pay off the settlement. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you, mother-in-law.
Now let me hold the baby. Oh, how adorable. Those eyes are just like Robert's when he was a baby.
To an outsider, they look like 3 happy generations of a family, blissfully unaware that it was all a facade. Here's the amount for the settlement. Oh, and let me give you this as well. When I showed the document, mother-in-law instantly frowned. What's this? These are the results of my fertility test. I thought you all should know the truth. I showed everyone the test results.
No problems, then why haven't you had children yet?
Smiling widely, I answered mother-in-law's astonishment. Could it be because the issue was with Robert?
What are you talking about? He clearly can have kids, right, Isabella?
Yes? Isabella was visibly flustered. For the clueless people, I gave another hint. When did Robert reunite with Isabella at the reunion?
It was last year, so about 6 months ago.
Mother-in-law pulled out an invitation postcard from the drawer.
Yes, indeed, 6 months ago. Wait.
It seems mother-in-law finally caught on.
Hold on. You guys met again at the reunion, right? Yeah, it was the first time we had reunion in like 10 years or more. And yet, Isabella has already given birth. The timing doesn't add up.
Sensing that she's been caught by her mother-in-law, Isabella starts making excuses. Oh, well, this baby was born much earlier than his due date.
How many months old did you say he is?
To mother-in-law's question, Robert proudly responds,
"He's just 1 month old. He's going to get cuter and cuter."
Then mother-in-law says with a stern face, "So that means he was in Isabella's belly for less than 5 months?"
What? Isn't that how pregnancy works?
Don't be ridiculous. Pregnancy lasts 40 weeks, which is basically 10 months. A baby being in the womb for only 5 months doesn't make sense. Mother-in-law, filled with anger, confronts Isabella. What is going on here, Isabella? Realizing she can't talk her way out of this, Isabella finally comes clean. Fine, the truth is the baby isn't Robert's, but at this point, who cares? He's a cute baby. Doesn't that count for something? Hearing this, mother-in-law shouts at Isabella. Don't joke around. What I want is Robert's child, my own flesh and blood. I will never accept a child from some stranger. Robert seems to finally grasp the situation.
Isabella, you lied to me? You said we were soulmates, that God gave us this baby.
Enough of this. I'll tell you the real story. Isabella starts to speak her mind. This child is from my ex-boyfriend, the one after Robert, but he was a terrible man and disappeared as soon as he found out I was pregnant. That's why I was looking for a new dad for him at our reunion.
You're kidding.
And you, Robert, fell right into my trap. I thought I was lucky, but who knew you'd be infertile and make things this complicated? Annoyed, Isabella stands up, holding her baby, ready to leave. I should have picked a different guy. Alimony sounds complicated, and you've got an annoying mother-in-law. I'll find another man to be this child's father. Wait, where do you think you're going? I won't let Isabella go scot-free. Isabella taunts back at me as I hold her back. What? If I break up with Robert, then I'm not involved anymore, right? Just go on with your life, or maybe you two should just reconcile quickly. It's too late for that. Because of you, I have no intention of reconciling with Robert. You stole another woman's husband. You'll have to pay the price. The price? I thought Robert's loving, kind mother would cover the alimony. Do you want more money or something? Just as expected, my mother-in-law immediately rejected the idea. No way! Why would I pay any compensation? That child isn't even my grandchild. Even Robert and Isabella started to panic. Mom, you said earlier you'd help us. Yeah, Auntie, you said you had savings. My savings are for my grandchildren, not some random kid. You two better figure this out yourselves. I can't afford to pay $10,000 or $30,000. Too bad. I've got a signed agreement. Then Robert tried to sweet-talk me. Look, Amelia, we've been doing just fine without kids. Can't we just start over? I already told you, I have no intention of starting over with you. If you fail to pay, I'll take legal action. You can't be serious. We've been doing well so far. Who ruined that? You did. Before I knew it, I was yelling at Robert. I thought even if we couldn't have kids, we'd still be happy together. But you listen to your mom, cheat on me, and the kid isn't even yours? You're pathetic. Then can't we just be happy from now on? Shut up! I will never get back together with you. Go live your life with your dear mother. You and I are now strangers. Amelia, you can't be serious. Ignoring his pleas, I left Robert's family home. I'll never come back here. I quickly packed up my things and moved out. Robert doesn't know where I'm going, so I'll never have to see his face again. Soon enough, I started a new life in a rented apartment. Maybe it was the mention of legal action, but Robert and Isabella did end up paying the compensation. I didn't have to worry about money. I have no idea what became of them. The payments came from separate accounts, so they must have broken up. As for whether Robert remarried, I don't know, but it's certain he still has no kids. His mother will likely never hold a grandchild or use her savings. It does make me feel a bit sad for her. A year after leaving Robert, I was proposed to by a coworker. We now have 2 children, and our family of 4 is happily living life. From here on out, I plan to fully enjoy this newfound happiness with my family.